Exposed, my daughter's $33 million dreams crumbled in 3 days. An unexpected, heartwarming call for help. Jake Matthews had always believed in a world where dreams could come true. The small town of Millwood was packed with stories of grit and determination, people who fought for their version of the American dream. But nothing felt as bright as the moment he watched his daughter, Lily, standing at the podium as her name echoed through the gymnasium. Valedictorian. His heart raced as tears glistened in his eyes, overwhelmed with pride. Just days before, she had earned a $33 million scholarship from a billionaire benefactor who seemed like the magical solution to their struggles. Millwood buzzed with excitement, neighbors beaming at Jake and Lily, sharing in their joy. Hope was alive in the air, thick and sweet, but then, like a cruel thunderstorm, darkness swept into their lives. News broke just 3 days later: Lily's benefactor had declared bankruptcy. The air turned electric with disbelief as rumors rippled through town. Jake felt the world collapse around him. In an instant, the bright future they had envisioned was ripped apart, leaving nothing but sharp fragments of shattered dreams. Jake's heart sank deeper each time he saw the hurt in Lily's eyes, the twinkle of hope extinguished. What was he supposed to say? "I'm sorry, Lily." The words felt foreign and heavy. He knew he should be her rock, but he was drowning too, choked by expectations and fears swirling like thick fog. Each conversation turned into a minefield of misunderstandings. When he tried to comfort her, she pushed away, resentments brewing beneath the surface, their bond strained. As the community's shimmer dimmed with the dark news, a different, more somber energy filled Millwood. Jake noticed whispers of prejudice and fear trickling into conversations, casting shadows on the jubilant spirit that had brought them together. He felt trapped in a storm of inadequacy. Could he really provide a future for Lily when the world seemed stacked against them? And then, it clicked, this battle was about more than just a lost scholarship. It involved the entire community's spirit. But amid despair came flickers of hope. Neighbors rallied around Lily, organizing bake sales and fundraising initiatives to restore her shattered dreams. They fought not just for her but to weave the fabric that held Millwood together. Jake felt conflicted, pride wrestling with fear. The more he saw people rallying, the more he acknowledged their ache for change and belonging. As he lay awake, chalking up sleepless nights, Jake started to realize that success was not simply about a diploma. It was about love, community, and rising together as a family. But could they dismantle the socio-economic barriers stacked against them? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue, and just when Jake thought he had a grip on their reality, Lily made a bold choice. With a firm voice, she decided to turn her loss into something greater. Instead of pursuing the path laid out for her, she wanted to advocate for systemic change, to fight for every child, no matter their background, to have a fair shot at their own dreams. Jake swallowed hard, punctured with an overwhelming mix of pride and fear. The weight of their predicament still hung thick in the air, and as the town simmered with tension, he wondered, could love and community truly dismantle the barriers surrounding them? Lily's bold decision echoed in Jake's mind long after she had spoken. The thought of her advocating for change ignited a spark within him. It wasn't just about their struggle anymore, it was becoming a movement. But uncertainty loomed closely, whispering doubts into his ear. Would she be ready for this? What if she didn't have the strength to face the challenges ahead? He watched her as she busily crafted a plan, reaching out to friends and supporters. Each day, she gathered a small group of classmates, brainstorming ideas that might help amplify her voice. Jake felt a swell of admiration. She was determined, a fierce light amidst the shadows. Yet, a flicker of fear remained. How much was on her shoulders? Could she really pull this off? As the sun sank low on the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, Jake joined Lily in the backyard. She was seated on the swing set, a spot she often used as a sanctuary for her thoughts. "Dad," she said, her voice steady but soft, "I think we need to organize a community meeting. I want everyone to be part of this." Her eyes sparkled with a passion that momentarily drowned out every doubt in Jake's heart. "Do you think they'll come?" he asked, not wanting to crush her spirit but genuinely worried. "Of course they will," she replied, her smile unwavering. "This isn't just about me. It's about every kid who dreams of going to college but feels held back. We need to tell our stories, Dad. People need to hear them." Jake felt an unfamiliar warmth spread through him, like sunlight breaking through a storm. Could this be the start of something more significant than he had ever imagined? He could already see the threads of connection forming, families united by shared hopes and fears, standing ready to fight for change in their community. The community meeting was planned for the following Friday. As the day approached, Jake found himself nervously pacing the living room, his mind racing through worst-case scenarios. What if no one showed up? What if they laughed at her ideas? Just then, he caught a glimpse of Lily busily organizing flyers at the kitchen table, her concentration unwavering. A soft knock pulled him from his thoughts. It was Mrs. Henderson, their next-door neighbor. She held a plate of cookies and a warm smile, a simple act that meant the world to him in that moment. "Jake, I'm here to help. Lily told me about the meeting. I wanted to see what I could do," she said, her voice filled with genuine warmth. He welcomed her in, gratitude swelling in his chest. Soon, neighbors began to trickle into their home, eager to lend a hand. They shared stories, brainstormed ideas, and rallied around Lily's cause, igniting something powerful. An unexpected wave of unity swept through the house. As the week faded into night, Jake stepped outside, taking a deep breath of fresh air. The stars twinkled above, each one a reminder of dreams still alive despite hardships. Yet, as hope filled his heart, fear nagged at the corners of his mind. What if they failed to create real change? The night before the meeting, Jake leaned against the doorframe, watching his girl rest peacefully. What had started as a crumbling dream was transforming into something beautiful, chaotic, and hopeful. But deep down, he knew that this journey would be anything but easy. In that stillness, a thought struck him: if they were to face this together, could they overcome the failures and barriers? As he pondered this, he felt determination swell. He wouldn't let Lily's dreams be solely her burden. Little did they know, the meeting would unveil deep-rooted issues within the community they had never anticipated, shifting their mission from dreams to survival. As dawn broke, Jake's heart raced with expectation. What challenges lay ahead? Would they be prepared for what was to come? They were on the brink of something monumental. The day had finally arrived. Friday morning crept in timidly, sunlight brushing across the walls of Jake's home, as anticipation crackled in the air like a live wire. He watched Lily moving around the house, her energy infectious. She was still up early, making last-minute adjustments to her speech, practicing her lines as if they were part of a play. The more he witnessed her confidence and determination, the more Jake found himself reeling from the duality of hope and anxiety. "Are you ready for today?" he asked, trying to keep his tone light. But all he could feel was the weight of their mission pressing down on him. Lily paused, placing her hands on her hips. "More than ready, Dad. It's going to be great. Just you wait." Her bright smile, infused with passion, momentarily lifted Jake's spirits. They arrived at the community center, a modest building that had seen better days. Though it seemed run down, the walls were filled with the laughter and chatter of neighbors greeting one another as they ambled in. Jake's heart warmed at the sight, yet the knot of tension in his stomach twisted tighter. As people filtered in, Lily started directing her peers, showing them how to set up chairs in a circle. The mingling voices merged with the shuffling of feet and the occasional clattering of dishes brought in for refreshments. Their neighbors showed up, families bringing children along, young couples holding hands, and elderly folks offering their wise smiles. "Look, Dad. It's everyone we invited." Lily beamed when she saw the gathering crowd. Jake scanned the room, taking in the warm energy that filled the air. But the closer it got to the start time, the quieter the whispers became, his own heart echoing the anxiety that had settled in. Finally, Lily stepped to the front, her commanding presence lighting up the dim room. "Thank you all for being here. This is important to me and to all of us." As she spoke, Jake couldn't help but admire her courage. But as he watched her, he also felt something shifting. The tension of not just their individual struggles, but a deeper, communal unrest, began to bubble beneath the surface. The stories shared around such gatherings often held a darker truth, and he could sense it. "Today isn't just about my dream," Lily continued, her voice rising in both confidence and urgency. "It's about every dream in this room that feels crushed or ignored." Applause poured into the air, but it wasn't the cheers of encouragement that fueled Jake's fears. It was the echo of silent pain behind those claps. That's when Mrs. Henderson stood up. "You know, Lily," she began, her voice wavering slightly, "it's not just about school for many of us. Some of us feel trapped in our jobs, others in our homes. We need to address that too." A hush fell. Jake felt the collective breath of everyone in the room. "Exactly," Lily responded, invigorated. "Let us not just focus on college, let us talk about jobs, housing, and what we can do together." Suddenly, a heavy silence settled, the atmosphere shifting from hopeful to an honest acknowledgement of the unspoken struggles that tied this group together. Jake felt something ripple in the air, a realization dawning. This was no longer just about Lily's dreams but about awakening a collective spirit. As hands raised and voices started overlapping in an earnest discussion, Jake's heart lifted with unexpected hope. But along with this hope came a question that neither of them could ignore: if they truly opened this door, would they be ready to embrace everything that came pouring through pain, healing, and the raw truth of survival? With every new voice that spoke up, the weight of change quickly began to fill the room, revealing more challenges ahead, more than they had ever anticipated. And in that moment, Jake realized, the true test was yet to come. Would they be brave enough to face it all together, or would this new movement expose the divisions that lay hidden beneath? As Lily rallied the room, a wave of resolve began to wash over Jake, interlaced with anxiety. What awaited them was unclear, but it was evident this journey would demand all their strength. How far would they be pushed, and what would they discover about each other in the process? Each heart held a story, each voice was vital, and the movement was just beginning. The flood of voices created a symphony, a chorus of stories ready to spill into the world. Jake's heart raced. Each shared thought brought an unforeseen weight, a collision of hopes and fears. The walls of the community center, once a mere backdrop, transformed into an arena of raw honesty. Lily stepped back for a moment, letting the audience absorb the rising tide of emotion. She scanned the room, her gaze meeting Jake's. He couldn't help but nod, encouraging her to keep going. She was their beacon now, leading them toward a vulnerable and uncertain territory. "Let us hear from Mrs. Henderson," Lily called, her voice encouraging. Mrs. Henderson stood tall, her silver hair glimmering under the fluorescent lights. "I've been working at the local grocery store for over 20 years, she began. "I love my community, but I feel like I'm stuck in a rut. My dreams of opening a small bakery seemed so silly back then." Her voice cracked slightly, a reminder of the weight of unfulfilled dreams. "Not silly at all," someone shouted from the back, emboldening her. I want to create a place where people can come together, share a meal, laugh. But with bills mounting, that dream seems impossible." Jake felt a warm tear slide down his cheek, not out of pity, but from the authenticity of her struggle. As she spoke, he noticed heads nodding in agreement. Others chimed in, revealing hidden challenges: a father losing his job, a mother juggling too many responsibilities, a young couple grappling with student debt. With each revelation, a tapestry of shared experiences emerged, weaving together their collective sorrow and aspirations. They were no longer just neighbors, they were allies, a community forging a path in unison. "Why don't we start a group?" Lily suggested, her eyes lit with passion. "We could meet regularly, share ideas, help each other out." Nervous murmurs rippled through the crowd, and then someone, a young woman with a determined look, stood up. "Let us not just meet. We could hold workshops, invite speakers who have done the things we want to do." Jake watched, amazed. This was blossoming into something deeper, something he hadn't anticipated. Lily was sparking a real conversation, a chance for healing and hope in this space that, although filled with uncertainty, felt aglow with possibility. But before Jake could truly wrap his mind around this uplifting shift, a voice cut through the optimism like a cold wind. "But what if nobody listens?" The question fell heavy in the air, silencing the room momentarily. Jake's heart tightened. He recognized the fear that lay beneath. This was their truth, the possibility that their efforts would lead to nothing. "Who will take us seriously?" Another voice added, fear threading through every word. Lily took a step forward, her resolve unyielding. "We will take ourselves seriously. Together, we can make noise." A flicker of hope ignited within Jake. He could sense a shift, a pulsation of energy ready to be harnessed, yet he felt the remnants of doubt clawing at him, a nagging whisper. But what if they failed? What if their good intentions crumbled as many dreams had before? The murmurs returned, this time tinged with uncertainty. As hope clashed with real-world fears, Jake's spirit began to waver. Would this beautiful spark manage to withstand the storm that often accompanied aspirations? As the discussion continued, the focus began to blur, like shadows flickering in a dimly lit room. Each moment of triumph stirred a quiet dread. Change was never easy, and the stark reality was that many of them had felt defeat before. Jake could see Lily on the edge of her dreams, dancing between hope and despair, unaware of the latent fears rising around her. He wanted to scream, to shout that it would be okay. But then again, would it? And just as the conversation began shifting to plans and ideas, Jake caught sight of a figure standing quietly at the back of the room. Their face was familiar, yet their presence beneath the weighted silence loomed like a dark cloud. What would they reveal next? Would this individual bring more light or clouds of doubt into the growing conversation? What awaited them all was uncertain, and the only thing Jake knew for sure was that this gathering had opened a door and the world beyond might be more tempestuous than they dared to imagine. Would they be ready to step through, even if the path turned rocky? The challenges were only beginning to unfold. A heavy silence hung in the community center as the figures stepped forward, their features becoming sharper under the dull lights. It was Ms. Reynolds, the high school principal, known for her unwavering support but also for her stern demeanor. Jake felt a wave of apprehension wash over him, the room collectively holding its breath. "I just got word that we are facing cuts in funding," she said, her voice steady yet tinged with a hint of sorrow. "Programs are at risk, including the ones our kids rely on most. That includes some of the workshops we were hoping to host." Disappointment rippled through the crowd, like an invisible hand squeezing the optimism from their hearts. Jake's chest tightened at the thought of their plans collapsing before they even had a chance to take flight. A few heads hung low, shadows of disillusionment crossing faces he had only just begun to see light in. "But we can't let this hold us back," Ms. Reynolds continued, her eyes lighting up with a glimmer of defiance. "I want to help. We need to gather support. There are grants we can apply for, fundraisers we can host. Let us not wait for someone else to save us." Lily stepped closer, emboldened by Ms. Reynolds' unwavering spirit. "She's right. We have to show them we're serious. The community has power, we just need to tap into it." "Exactly." A voice from the middle of the room chimed in, met with a renewed chorus of agreement. "Let us put our heads together and create something positive out of this uncertainty." Jake's heart lifted a little as ideas started to bounce around like ping-pong balls. Each suggestion was a spark, lighting up possibilities: bake sales, car washes, local artists showcasing their work, everything and anything that could bring the community together. But as the ideas flowed, Jake felt a creeping anxiety inching closer. They could inspire and dream, but would they follow through? What if they didn't have the means? What if their efforts fell short, just like before? He couldn't shake the feeling that the moments of camaraderie might only highlight their vulnerabilities, and then he saw Lily look at him, her eyes wide and sparkling, a silent plea for him to believe. However, the weight of doubt hung in the air between them, unspoken but palpable. As discussions continued, voices grew louder, laughter and hope mingling in a beautiful chaos. Yet through this, Jake felt the edges of panic nibbling at him. The pressure of wanting to support this collective dream was immense. What if he couldn't be what they needed? Jake! A sudden shout brought him back, like a splash of cold water. It was the young woman from earlier, her face flushed with excitement. How about we create a community mural, a symbol of our strength? Everyone can contribute, and it can represent our shared dreams. Gasps erupted, and the crowd's energy surged. Yes! Lily exclaimed, practically bouncing on her toes. It could be something to rally around, something tangible. The thought ignited something in Jake. Beautifying the community, binding them together, it seemed almost poetic. But there was still that gnawing worry clawing at him. Can we really do this? He asked aloud, his voice tight. What if it doesn't turn out as we hope? And just as he expressed his fear, a stillness came over the group, as if they were waiting for someone to break the silence hanging thick between them. Ms. Reynolds took a deep breath, stepping closer. What if it does? Her question lingered, echoing in the chamber. Moments passed as they stared into each other's eyes, searching for answers. Would they rally together despite the odds, despite the fear of failure? Around them, voices murmured softly, a mixture of uncertainty and encouragement. Sparks of determination started to glow again. But deep inside, Jake felt the question swirling. Were they ready for what lay ahead? Would they rise together, or would this moment of hope become yet another fleeting dream? The journey had only just begun, and the road ahead was filled with shadows and light. Could they learn to dance in between? Lily's enthusiasm was contagious, and Jake couldn't help but feel a flicker of hope. Their dreams for the mural sparked like fireflies in the night. He glanced around the room, watching as smiles spread across faces once clouded by doubt. The energy pulsated, and for a moment, he allowed himself to believe. Let us brainstorm ideas for the mural. A parent shouted, breaking the heavy silence. Yeah. We could dedicate sections to different community groups, the schools, local businesses, even the sports teams. Another parent added, their eyes alight with excitement. Jake felt the tide of optimism rising. As ideas flowed, each suggestion painted a vivid picture of what could be a kaleidoscope of colors representing their shared hopes and dreams. Yet, a part of him lingered in the shadows. What if the enthusiasm faded? Would they really stick together when challenges arose? Lily caught his gaze again and motioned for him to come closer. What is going on in that head of yours? She asked softly, her voice cutting through his swirling thoughts. What if we don't have what it takes to pull this off? What if this is just another shiny idea that fizzles out? He felt vulnerable admitting his fears. Jake, she said, taking his hand in hers. You can't think like that. We're the community, right? Together, there's nothing we can't achieve. Her belief sparked something inside him, igniting a determination he didn't know he had. He squeezed her hand lightly, a silent agreement to explore this path together, no matter how rocky it might be. Let us do it, he said, a newfound conviction in his voice. The room erupted in cheers, a symphony of encouragement lifting their spirits higher. Ms. Reynolds, standing slightly apart from the crowd, surveyed the burgeoning excitement with a soft smile on her face. All right, let us form a committee. We need to divide the responsibilities: fundraising, design, outreach. We can't let this fade away. As she spoke, Jake noticed a few familiar faces from his high school days. They had all come together, people who had once navigated hallways filled with laughter, tears, and triumphs. Each shared history tied them closer now than ever. "Let us meet here every week," someone suggested, and that simple idea sparked a chain of agreement. "Yeah. Regular meetings so we can keep the momentum going." As the crowd began to organize themselves into groups, Jake felt warmth spread through him, a sensation of safety and unity. Ideas danced, a bake sale schedule here, a design brainstorming meeting there. But in the back of his mind, he couldn't shake the gnawing question, would life allow them this time? The initial excitement blended into the inevitable realities of planning and work. As the meeting started to wind down, Jake noticed Lily stepping up next to Ms. Reynolds, her demeanor radiating confidence. "We're all going to need some cash. I have a plan for a fundraiser. If everyone pitches in, we can make this sanctuary shine." Jake felt the thrill of her vision. "What if we organize an arts and crafts festival? Local artists could sell their work and a portion of the proceeds could go toward the mural." It wasn't just a stood-up suggestion, it sent ripples of interest through the room. One by one, hands shot up with ideas that made Jake's heart race: workshops, community booths, something beautiful from their collective hands. Then, a murmur cut through the crowd. One man, usually silent, stood up. "What if we draft a letter to the local newspaper? Get the word out, create buzz." The crowd shifted, voices humming with enthusiasm. Yet, Jake felt the bubble of exhilaration burst just slightly. They all had the heart, but would the community respond? As he exchanged glances with Lily, he couldn't help but wonder what awaited them just over the horizon. Was he ready to lead this charge, or was he destined to watch from the sidelines as hopes swayed like leaves in the wind? With that weight pressing on his mind, Jake knew they were at a turning point. Would this be the moment they all transformed into something greater, or would the looming shadows of doubt drag them back into uncertainty? Outside, thunder rumbled, a storm brewing in the distance that mirrored the turmoil of his thoughts. What awaited them in this endeavor? Would they rise to the occasion, or would the storm tear apart their noble dreams? The next meeting felt electric, like the air before a storm crackles with energy. Jake stepped into the community center, glancing around at familiar faces, each one brimming with the shared hope they had ignited just a week prior. He was taken aback by the sight of the banner over the stage that read, "Together we create," splashed in bold colors. Lily stood by the entrance, her smile wide and her contagious spirit clear as she welcomed everyone. "Did you see the article in the local paper?" she asked, her eyes sparkling as he approached. "They printed our plans. People are already calling to join in." Jake felt a tingle of pride rush through him. This was it. The ball was rolling, and it gave him a glimmer of light in the heavy fog of uncertainty. But as excitement danced in the room, the storm inside him swirled, too. Could they really sustain this energy? As the meeting kicked off, Ms. Reynolds outlined their tasks. Fundraising needed to ramp up, and Jake felt the weight of expectation on his shoulders. He had volunteered to lead the outreach team, but what if he couldn't generate enough interest? "Let us get a list of potential sponsors, local businesses who might want to advertise with us," Ms. Reynolds suggested, guiding them through the brainstorming session. "Maybe we could host a kickoff party to announce the festival." A parent chimed in. Whispers of enthusiasm echoed, and Jake's heart raced. He took a deep breath, searching for his voice. "How about we canvass neighborhoods? We can hand out flyers and have a booth at the farmer's market to spread the word." The suggestion was met with a chorus of agreement, and a spark ignited. Ideas flowed like a fresh stream, but still, a small voice in Jake's mind flickered, reminding him of the storm looming just outside. Hours ticked by as they shared ideas, laughter punctuating serious moments, but moments of doubt threatened to creep back in. Jake caught Lily's eye across the table. She nodded, encouraging him. Her belief was a lifeline. He needed to trust that as the meeting wrapped, the group transformed into pairs, each team embracing an assignment. Jake stood with Lily at the entrance, their fingers brushing occasionally, igniting a warmth between them that melted away the nerves. Just as they started to discuss plans for their flyer layout, the doors swung open, and a heavy gust of wind rushed in. Instantly, the murmurs of joy fell silent. An elderly man, Mr. Hartman, a member of their community who had faced a recent setback, stood in the doorway, drenched from the rain outside. His shoulders were slumped with visible fatigue. "Sorry for intruding," he said, his voice croaking. "I watched you all from outside. I want to help too." Jake's heart sank at the sight of the waning light in Mr. Hartman's eyes. He stepped forward, offering a chair, his mind racing with admiration for the man's bravery. "Join us," Jake invited, pulling a chair next to Lily. "Every idea counts." As Mr. Hartman sat down, the warmth returned, and Jake could feel a new kind of determination swell in the room. Everyone began sharing their plans in earnest, inviting him to brainstorm. This sense of community pushed Jake to step even further outside his comfort zone. "Mr. Hartman," he began, hesitantly, "you've been in touch with our town's history longer than most. What if we include some of those stories in our mural?" The room buzzed with renewed interest. "Yes. We could paint a backdrop reflecting the town's history alongside newer sections." By embracing Mr. Hartman, they were not just adding depth to their project but also highlighting the value of each person's journey within their community. But as laughter echoed around them, the thunder in Jake's chest grew louder. What lay beyond this moment of warmth? As the meeting closed, Lily leaned in closer to Jake, her breath a whisper. "You're a natural at this, you know. You have what it takes." That simple acknowledgement sent a ripple of warmth through him, but deep down, a mix of exhilaration and fear churned. As they stepped outside, the storm still loomed ominously. Thick clouds churning high above. One heavy raindrop splat against Jake's cheek, and he felt it, a sign of change, of something pressing just beyond the horizon. Would they weave their community together, or would the storm tear them apart before they even started? The rain began to fall in earnest as Jake and Lily took their first steps into the darkening street. The weight of the looming clouds above felt like a tangible pressure, a reminder of the challenges ahead. But despite the storm, a flicker of hope ignited in his chest, fueled by the connection they had all forged together. Lily glanced at him, her eyes reflecting the murkiness of the evening sky. "What now?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper as they hurried to find shelter beneath a nearby awning. "I don't know," Jake admitted, feeling the tension in his shoulders. "I guess we just keep moving, keep pushing forward." The rain fell heavier, streaming down in sheets that blurred the lights of the nearby street lamps. "We can't lose this momentum." She nodded, her damp hair sticking to her forehead. Yet, Jake saw something else flicker in her gaze, something like determination mixed with uncertainty. "But what if it's not enough?" she asked, worry creeping into her tone, that he felt the weight of her question plunge into him like a lead anchor. It was a thought he tried to push away, but now the fear was louder than ever. What if we fail? What if we can't save this project? Before he could answer, a loud clap of thunder boomed overhead, almost drowning out his thoughts. The storm outside seemed a mirroring of what was brewing inside him. They hurried past puddles, dodging the wild winds, until they arrived at a small cafe that bore the comfort of warm lighting and the aroma of fresh coffee. Inside, the chatter of patrons provided a stark contrast to the roaring storm outside. Jake felt his heart settle, even just a little. "Let's grab a slice of cake," Lily suggested, pointing toward the display case. "You'll feel better." He couldn't help but chuckle at her unwavering spirit, her ability to find light even among the downpour. As they shared a slice of chocolate cake, Lily looked at him thoughtfully. "Jake, I think you underestimate what you've already accomplished. Last week, we brought these people together. They're passionate, you know. They want this." He could feel some of the tension uncoil from his chest. "Yeah, but this is just the beginning. What if we can't keep that passion alive? What if they need more from me than I can give?" Lily leaned in closer, her voice soft yet firm. "Every big change starts with one step. You're not alone in this. I believe in you. Look at Mr. Hartman, he wouldn't have come if he didn't see something special in what we're doing." Her words lifted him as if someone were gently lifting the clouds from his mind. You're right. We need to get more people like him involved. A new spark ignited in Jake. What about sharing personal stories? Inviting others to stand for our community's past, present, and future. That's it. Lily exclaimed, her eyes lighting up. We could create an online platform, a place where people can come together to share. We could even feature Mr. Hartman and others like him, show them how vital they are to our project. Their voices filled the cafe, booming amid the hum of other conversations. Jake felt a rush of excitement course through him as their ideas flourished. In their small enclave, they were carving out something meaningful, something that felt alive. But as they stood to leave, the storm's reality roared through the window, eclipsing the moment. With one last flicker of lightning, uncertainty settled back in. Are we really enough to handle this? Jake murmured, half to himself. Lily paused, looking at him squarely. It's about more than just us. So long as we keep believing, we can weather this storm together. Outside, the winds howled, and the rain pounded against the pavement like urgent fingers demanding attention. Each gust felt like a challenge, pushing them to the edge of fear and hope. As they stepped back out into the chaotic night, soaked but undeterred, a deep question loomed larger than the storm above them: what truly mattered in their fight for community? Would their passion and collective stories be enough to transform the depths of doubt that lay before them? The rain lashed against the pavement, creating rippling pools that mirrored the chaos in Jake's heart. He and Lily stepped onto the slick sidewalks, their shoes splashing as they navigated through the maze of puddles. The storm's atmosphere seemed to thrum with the very pulse of their uncertainty, but even amidst the tempest, Jake felt the determination swell between them. Lily, he started, his voice a mix of urgency and hope, let us talk to everyone we can, even random people. What if we just start sharing our vision? We need to spark something bigger than us. His words tumbled out in a rush, fueled by the adrenaline he felt from their earlier conversation. Lily's eyes brightened, her expression shifting from concern to pure enthusiasm. Yes. If we can show people how this affects them and why it matters, we could ignite that passion. We've seen what it can do. They leaned against the awning of a local shop, the warmth inside calling to them while the storm raged outside. A couple of patrons hurried by, glancing curiously at the drenched duo. Jake instinctively shielded his eyes and caught a glimpse of the shop's light flickering as the wind howled. This is crazy, he murmured, feeling the weight of the moment. People might just see us as two kids trying to make a difference. Or maybe they'll see the potential, Lily countered gently. You know what? We'll start at the community center tomorrow. We'll gather anyone interested, and we'll speak from the heart. Her confidence was infectious, and Jake found himself nodding, feeling the corners of his lips twitching into a grin. Yeah, let us do it. Let us be bold. With renewed conviction, they stepped back onto the wet pavement, ready to dive into the uncharted waters of engaging their community. Together they streamlined the steps for their plan as they walked, details sketching themselves effortlessly into the canvas of their minds. But the chaos of the storm wasn't just rain. Fear lurked too. The doubts floated back to the surface. What if people didn't care? What if they were met with indifference and loud scoffs? As they rounded a corner, Jake caught himself staring hard at the street ahead. Lily sensed the shift in his mood. Jake, what are you thinking? She prompted, concern slipping into her voice. He hesitated. I worry it might be too much for them. Too much for us. Can we really be that catalyst? Why not? She paused, leaning closer. What if you're exactly what they need? You have a vision, and that alone makes you a leader. You inspire passion, you bring light. Don't underestimate how transformative that can be. Her words hung heavy in the air, soothing yet invigorating. Jake smiled as a sense of purpose surged through him, drowning out his fears and doubts. You're right, he said firmly. We have to do this. With a pep in their step, they made their way to the community center, the rain continuing its relentless fall but no longer able to drown their fire. As they arrived, the warm glow of amber lights greeted them. But when they pushed the heavy door open, they were met with something entirely unexpected: a small cluster of familiar faces already gathering inside. Their huddled form under the quaint decorations felt like a backing band ready to play their part in a shared dream. "Everyone's been waiting," an older woman called out with a knowing smile, waving them in. Jake exchanged a glance with Lily, her eyes sparkling with a mix of excitement and surprise. It was a reminder that they weren't alone in this endeavor. As they stepped inside, ready to share their vision with these eager faces, deep down Jake felt it the unmistakable warmth of a community coming together. But even as hope bloomed in the air, a sense of urgency remained. Would they truly open their hearts and embrace the dream? As they prepared to speak, an unease washed over Jake like the cold rain had moments ago. Would they stand united, or would doubts creep back in, threatening their fragile momentum? The answer lay closer than he realized, just on the horizon of their collective strength. The community center buzzed with anticipation, a warmth radiated from the gathered crowd, a sea of familiar faces brightening the dark clouds of doubt that had loomed over Jake and Lily. They stepped forward together, hearts pounding, ready to share their vision. "Thank you all for coming," Jake began, his voice steady. "This isn't just about one dream, this is about all of our dreams. We want to hear your stories, your fears, your hopes." He couldn't help but glance at Lily, whose eyes sparkled with passion. The room filled with a murmur of agreement. Faces lit with a sense of purpose, and in that moment, Jake felt the weight of uncertainty begin to ease. They weren't just speaking to a crowd, they were sparking a movement. "I've been here for over 50 years, Mr. Hartman chimed in, standing up. "And I've seen dreams crushed by silence. But today, I feel like this is a start towards something incredible." His voice trembled but was filled with conviction. "Right," Lily exclaimed, stepping forward. "We all have stories that matter. Together, we could paint a mural reflecting our shared dreams and our history as a community." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Every brushstroke will be a testament to our resilience." Jake felt a wave of energy pulse through the room as people started to share their thoughts, concepts blooming like flowers. The flicker of doubt he had carried felt smaller now, overshadowed by the light radiating from the people around him. "Let us carry our stories beyond these walls," another woman called out. "Let us reach out to those who can't attend and invite them into our journey." With each suggestion, Jake's heart expanded with renewed hope. This was it, they were transforming fear into unity, darkness into resilience. The idea of a mural transformed from a simple artwork into a powerful narrative of survival, a representation of their collective struggles and dreams. "Let us make it happen," yelled a young man, igniting applause. "We'll host workshops, invite local artists, and create a platform to share our stories." Excitement bubbled like effervescent soda, energizing every corner of the room. Jake found himself swept up in the momentum, ideas flying back and forth, discussions bursting like fireworks. Together, they tackled plans for fundraising, outreach, and art, a torrent of creativity sparked by community spirit, but amid the exhilaration, Jake felt a flicker of fear return. What if they couldn't follow through? Would that sense of unity stand strong when the first setbacks hit them? As he looked at Lily, he saw the belief shining in her eyes. It reignited his resolve. They had each other and a community ready to rise, which made all the difference. "Do you believe we can do this?" Lily whispered, squeezing his hand tightly. He nodded, filled with warmth. "Together, we can tackle anything." As evening deepened and ideas flowed, a sense of purpose coalesced in their hearts. A warmth enveloped the center, casting aside shadows of uncertainty. By the time they left, Jake knew they were on the brink of transformation, not just for themselves, but for every individual whose voice had been muted. Days turned into weeks, and the energy never faltered. The community meetings flourished, and laughter flowed through the center as collaborators took on the roles needed to bring together their mural project. They designed posters, painted signs, and even created an online platform to share updates and collect stories. One evening, as Jake and Lily painted the first strokes of the mural, vibrant colors swirling together, he looked at the people around them, each contributing a piece of themselves, their stories merging into a narrative louder than any storm they had weathered. He felt the lightness of his heart, knowing they had forged something incredible. Through the collaborative process, they uncovered layers of each other's lives: the father working 2 jobs, waiting for the moment to pursue his own dream of writing, the grandmother who had never given up on her bakery idea, the young couple striving to break the cycle of debt. Each color they painted echoed the dreams of their community, each stroke a promise of change. Jake realized this was more than just a mural. It became an emblem of hope, resilience, and unity, resonating within the hearts of everyone who participated. As they stepped back to admire their work, he knew they had crafted a tapestry of shared dreams that would breathe new life into not just their individual aspirations but the spirit of Millwood itself. On the day of the unveiling, the town gathered around the newly painted mural, a breathtaking explosion of art embodying their collective journey. The colors became symbols of strength and love, proudly displayed against the brick walls. A hush fell over the crowd as Lily stepped forward, her radiant smile breaking the silence. Today, they stood together, transformed by hope, connection, and bravery, as they celebrated not just the mural, but every story it represented. Each of them was identified in that beautiful canvas, each of them a part of a new dream forged from shared vulnerability and passion. With Jake's hand firm on her shoulder, Lily took a deep breath and spoke from her heart. What we accomplished started with a dream, but it grew into something so much bigger. Thank you for fighting for each other and lifting me when I needed it the most. Tears glimmered in many eyes, and voices erupted in applause. Jake felt a wave of joy crash over him. They had not only shared their struggles but inspired their community to leap into action, a result of standing together hand in hand in the light. In that moment, Jake understood the essence of the American dream wasn't about individual success or a bright future, but about lifting each other up and creating a tomorrow together. And with that realization, he also understood what they needed to do more than ever: invite others into their journey, empower others to share their stories, and act as a beacon of hope for anyone feeling lost. It was time to take the movement even further. As the applause echoed around him, Jake made the promise to himself, to Lily, to the community: this was just the beginning. They would be the architects of change, guiding everyone together toward the dawn of a new era. In that moment, surrounded by family and friends, a single thought burst forth: this was the moment they had all waited for. Keep going, keep rising, and never let go of their dreams. Now, if you felt any of the emotions from this journey, you need to subscribe to our channel now so you never miss another story that inspires. This is the moment to show your support by leaving a like. Every click counts in feeding the algorithm. And we want to hear from you. Comment below your thoughts on how hope and community can transform dreams into reality. Don't wait not even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness this transformation. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting our mission through your actions. Let us spread this spirit together.